We've all heard the stories about USAID. We've seen the waste. Most Americans agree that it has no place anywhere near being government funded. But our next guests agree with that as well. But they also say that USAID's soft power is very useful at protecting our country from existential threats such as China. Retired Army General Laura Richardson joins us now, along with retired Navy Vice Admiral John Fozzie Miller. And to you both, thanks for coming on tonight. General Richardson, I'll start with you. Talk about, because I think a lot of people watching what Doge is doing, the cuts, and now what I think Marco Rubio is in charge of here with USAID, and they wonder why, we must spend all of this money all around the world. You see money being spent in Africa. Africa doesn't give us money. Why do we have to spread all this wealth all over the world? What's your response to that?
So first of all, Rob, thanks for having us on tonight. We really appreciate it and being able to talk to the American people and just present a little bit more about the instruments of national power. And this is one of them that you're highlighting. Yeah. Both myself and Fozzie have about 40 years apiece in the service, so about 80 years of experience between the two of us. And we quickly realized through the military and coming up that all of the instruments of national power have to be used by a country. And when I say the instruments of national power, diplomacy, information, military, and economics, it's not just about the M part, the military part. And I will tell you that as a combatant commander of U.S. Southern Command, where I'm working in Latin America and the Caribbean, and the investment tools, the #1 diplomat on the ground, which is our U.S. ambassadors, are so critical for our Team USA ground game in the country, and being able to work with our partners, our allies and partners across the globe is so very important, especially with the axis of aggressors. You got China, Russia, Iran, North Korea that are working more closely together. And so the diplomatic tool, the development tool is a critical tool in the toolkit.
Sure. Vice Admiral Miller, do you think that there's going to be, will there be a return to this? Do you think that Rubio, others will say, you know what, that some of that, I guess they call it soft power that we kind of use to, kind of help push our agenda around the world. Do you think there'll be a return to some of that after they've basically decimated USAID at this point, right?
Well, there is going to be a return on international development, and we ought to continue to pursue it. That's not to say that there doesn't need to be reform. I think we strongly support the administration's efforts to do so. We saw a lot of support for that when we were up on the Hill today. But when we talk about peace through strength, we're talking about all the elements of national power. And those returns that we see when we participate in programs in places like Africa or in South America or in the Middle East, those dividends don't necessarily pay off immediately, but they're part of the long-term investment. And if we don't make that investment, then China's going to make that investment. And that's not good for the United States of America. So we need to lead on this issue.
Yeah, and then just to follow up, that's kind of what the Belt and Road Initiative in China has been all about, right? Is kind of stretching its power into places wherever it can find, right?
Right, they do it economically, and they're continuing to do it diplomatically, and more often from a military standpoint.
Understood. All right, General.
Just in the Western Hemisphere, Rob, in terms of the hemisphere with which we live.
Sure.
22 of 31 countries are signed on to the Belt and Road Initiative. Yeah. And I just believe that's because we haven't been there as much as we should from Team USA. But these critical tools, I mean, we got to show up with our jersey on. We got to be on the field playing. We've got to be there competing.
Understood.
And competing against our adversaries to outcompete them.
Understood. General Laura Richardson and Vice Admiral Fozzie Miller. To you both, thank you so much for coming on to give us that perspective. Good to see you.
Thanks for having us.